Well, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about uh, idea, hypothesis, theory, and then how that relates to beliefs. So first, let's start with idea, hypothesis, theory. Okay, so you've got idea, hypothesis, and theory. Okay, so your idea, it's just an idea. It does not have to have any evidence. You came up with something. It could be 100% creative and out of the box based upon a whim. So this does not need evidence. Okay, no evidence needed. A hypothesis, okay, this is an idea that is grown. Okay, so it's an idea plus some evidence or an explanation for something with some evidence. Now, a theory, this is the most developed of these items. A theory is a hypothesis that has been validated by multiple experiments and has a huge resulting base of evidence. So idea, no evidence needed. Hypothesis, explanation with some evidence. Theory, mountain of evidence. Now this kind of gives you an idea as to their relative growth in importance. It doesn't really still give you an idea of visualizing what they are. So to do that, I'm going to draw something here that represents human knowledge. Okay? We'll call it the pyramid of human knowledge. So I'm going to draw myself a nice pyramid here. Okay, and pyramids, historically for thousands of years, have been extremely stable and built with very simple materials. Generally sandstone bricks, or if they're smaller pyramids, we might create them out of clay-fired bricks. So these bricks make up this pyramid, right? Okay, so I got all my bricks there. Now, what are the bricks in this exclamation, or in this explanation? So one brick in this is going to equal a fact. Okay? And then above this pyramid, as you know, pyramids can be built higher and higher and higher so long as we have the necessary base and maintain the necessary shape. So this pyramid can keep growing so long as we, add on some bricks. As long as we keep adding on bricks, we can keep growing our pyramid. Oops, pretend I did that right. And pretend I'm a good artist here. Okay, so we can keep growing our pyramid as long as we have a nice foundation of bricks. Okay, so, and then up here at the top of the pyramid, you have this, nobody knows quite what's in here. We're going to call this the cloud of ideas. Okay, so if each brick is a fact, then how do we represent a hypothesis or a theory? Now, it'd be nice if I had lots of colors of pens here, but I at least have two colors. Okay. So remember, a hypothesis is some facts, right? So if we have and we see a few facts that seem to establish a pattern, we can develop a hypothesis from that. For instance, if we see that, we're a 3-year-old child and we see that all animals are eating, we can develop the hypothesis that all animals need food. Very advanced thinking for a 3-year-old child, but that's very simplistic for the rest of us, so it's a good example. So that would be our small pattern of evidence. Now, that pattern of evidence, in order to develop into a theory, needs to be substantiated by a lot more facts. In other words, the pattern needs to be expanded. We need to see that pattern continue on almost forever. So I'm going to put, just a couple goes ahead and makes our hypothesis. But if we keep looking both into our body of knowledge currently, and we see that pattern continues throughout our facts, plus we do a little experimental discovery, and we see that the pattern, and this is going to take work because you have to develop, the whole body of knowledge needs to grow sometimes when you're looking for these patterns. So if we find a couple more bricks going out here, or another brick, I guess, by the way that I'm drawing, and we see that this pattern does expand off of the current volume of knowledge, okay, then we are establishing a theory. A theory is a massive amount of factual information that extends through a huge pattern of facts and establishes a predictive ability for future facts. So when we do end up going outside the body of human knowledge currently, if our fact holds to be true, there should be a pattern continued there. You can't see my dots. You should see a pattern continued there, and there, and there. Okay? Now, you see up top here I have this cloud of ideas, and my pyramid is beginning to grow into it. There's always knowledge outside of what we know. And ideas, remember, they're not based on fact. So any of this place outside the pyramid would actually be the cloud of ideas. And as we develop that, we can, kind of stand on the pyramid, take a look, somewhere off the pyramid and get our ideas. But we have to then go and find some fact. And sometimes that is done by just exploring outside of our current knowledge a little bit, to establish a few factual pieces of information that will give us our hypothesis. And then we can continue to investigate through the scientific methodology, usually experimentation, to develop that into theory. So this is the difference between your idea, your hypothesis, and theory. Okay. Now how does this relate to beliefs? I'm going to squeeze one more little category in here. And I'll use the green for the contrast. So, beliefs. All right. So you have 3 types of beliefs that very easily correlate with the scientific ideas here. Now, this is not anything that's specifically scientific in nature. It's just trying to give you an idea of how this belief word works, because it's really slippery. Okay, you can have beliefs that have no evidence at all, okay? And these are from a wide range of things. Pure fantasy, philosophy, all kinds of things, okay? Then you have hypothetical beliefs, and these are beliefs that may have some evidence out there. So I've said that we would talk a little bit about aliens and Sasquatch, right? Now, I'm not going to give that too much serious consideration, but there are a lot of people out there that say that there's a ton of evidence for them. Now, there's not a ton of evidence for them. At the best, those would be hypothetical areas, because there is a small body of evidence with which you can expand upon. So some hypothetical beliefs would be something like Sasquatch or aliens. Okay? They're not well established by any means. Okay? Anyways, those are great conversations for later on to expand on. The last one, theory. Okay? Theory, mountain of evidence. Now this is solid. A solid belief, right? Like, I believe there are wooden chairs behind me. Oh my gosh, there's wooden chairs back there. How did I know that? Because I had walked by them so many times, right? And I can't see them right now, but I still believe they're there. Highly factual based statement, highly factual based belief. Now, every once in a while, somebody gets a little bit upset about something to do with religion, whether you are on the proponent side of religion or you are on the non-proponent side. Now, non-proponent is not synonymous with atheist. Atheist just means somebody that doesn't believe in God. It doesn't mean somebody is anti-God or anti-religion. Okay, so be careful about that. Every once in a while, people get that really messed up. But you can have religious people that are really, really, really upset about things that contradict their religion. And you can have people that are atheists that get really, really, really upset about anything brought up that is religious. So we're just going to put those in categories so we know what to do with them. Which category do you think religion belongs in? Idea, hypothesis, or theory? Well, here's the rub. Parts of them can be in every one of those categories. Yeah. You hear a lot of people try and throw it in the first category, but that's it, singular. Okay? Religion is not a singular thing. It's a big compilation of multiple concepts and ideas. And in that lies the biggest problem with religion on the planet, is people get so stuck in putting everything that they believe into one ball. And if you wrap up, very solid beliefs, like I believe the chair is behind me, with an idea that I believe a fairy is sitting in that chair, well, and I have to accept the whole thing altogether, you can see where the problem is. Because if there might not be a fairy there, right? But there is a chair there. They're components, they're pieces. So one has to look at everything in life that way. When we roll everything into one ball, it becomes very challenging. So how do I give you, I'm going to give you an example of this that is pretty tame, non-controversial. So I have a friend that teaches in Aberdeen. And this was a couple of years ago, but he was sitting at his desk at the end of class and students were working on things. And he heard, it was kind of like a free time, she loved talking, but he heard this argument heat up, and he only heard the very end of it when somebody got upset. And this is essentially what he heard. I have to believe the earth is flat. I'm a Christian. Now, I'm sure that probably every single one of you is like, huh? What? I'm sure some of you, I have a percentage of Christians in the class, and you're probably thinking, what? I don't think the earth has to be flat, right? Well, this individual had rolled all of their beliefs into one ball. And by this individual's belief system, if the earth proved not to be flat, then all of Christianity was disproved. Doesn't make sense, right? But I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you have a religious identity that's all rolled into one ball. So You just need to be careful about that one component of your belief structure, because you can have beliefs that might have been up here in the idea category, and it's really totally okay to have beliefs here. But if science and evidence, scientific evidence, comes along and shows you without a doubt that that belief was wackadoo, like flat earth, then discard it. And you can still keep your other beliefs in the idea category, you can keep your beliefs in the hypothetical category, and you can keep your beliefs in the theoretical category. All of the beliefs that you have are not singular, wrapped up into one thing. They are pieces, components, and they all have various grades of evidence behind them. Okay? So if somebody comes along and throws you some evidence that some little piece of something that you once believed doesn't make sense, you don't have to kick the whole thing out the door. And you also don't have to go into backfire bias status, which you will if you've wrapped all of your beliefs into one category. Okay? So you don't have to go into backfire status if you've got your beliefs separated out, because it's not going to be kicking out foundation blocks of who you are and what you believe. So it's not going to be so scary. Okay? So keep in mind that our beliefs are important to us, and they're not all one thing. They're very separated out. And the more that you can keep them separated out, the easier it's going to be for you to grow as a person. Okay, so this is our model of human knowledge that helps us to explain the graduating importance of idea, hypothesis, and theory. And those three concepts correlate very well to three very specific kinds of beliefs. And it's okay to have beliefs. It's okay to even have them in the category up here that I have the word fantasy and philosophy next to. Totally okay. Just keep your beliefs, avoid putting them all into one thing. Remember that they are individual components. And if you keep them as individual components, it'll be far easier for you to grow in your understanding of the world and grow as a person. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.